Ladies and gents, just again, warm welcome to you. As far as our 31st Free Friday Lunch webinar is concerned, and don't get excited, I know it's not Friday, it's the first time we're hosting it on a Thursday. For good reason, I'm traveling, unfortunately, quite extensively this month for business. To answer the very important question of what makes a good leader, not only at home, or not, let me put it rather this way, not only at work, but also at home. And if I do run at quite a quick pace today, please just bear with me because I've got a lot that I would love to cover with you. Right, so if for those of you who don't know me, I represent the Southern African Leadership Development and Training Institute, where we believe in growing leaders and impacting results. Just briefly, a couple of housekeeping matters. Please see this as a reflective exercise and ask yourself where are the areas specifically where you believe you need to work on more and grow in further. Please mute unless you want to ask a question, and if you wouldn't mind doing that given the time constraint at the end. And then I'm aiming at 27 minutes. I know that's very specific, and hopefully we'll have a couple of minutes left for Q&A. Please mail me if you want me to add you to the distribution list if you do not get it through one of your company representatives. And please mail me with future topics. We're number 31. At some point, I'm going to run out of ideas, but any topics related to mental health, emotional wellness, leadership, etc. That's the space that we operate in. And this recording will be available in the next week on our website. And if you've missed any previous recordings, please just go to resources, insights on our soldati.com website, and you'll be able to see all the previous recordings and more. Right, so just quickly my disclaimer, I don't have the magic wand. You don't attend a half an hour session discussing today's leadership topic, and then all of a sudden you are the best possible leader that's out there. No, but what I do is I would like to believe that I present to you a fresh perspectives that will hopefully lead to the way or pave the way for you being, in this case, a better leader going forward. Again, please reflect. Hold up the proverbial mirror and ask yourself, in which areas typically, given the content that I'm going to cover with you, can you improve and do you need to hone in or focus on more? Another invitation is to please pay it forward. If you identify one or two things in me sharing tools, methods, and techniques with you today, please pass it on to the person where you believe he or she can benefit from it. Right, let's get straight into it. As a leadership consultant, I often get asked, what is leadership about? Leadership's about many things, and we can probably start and should start with the word integrity. But I've just put down 3 words that I believe represents leadership. Leadership, in my mind and my experience, is about example, the example we set. It is about influence, and it's about providing perspective, and hopefully all of these should be done in a positive context. So what's good leadership? According to AI, it is a combination of essential qualities that enables us to effectively guide, motivate, and inspire others towards a common dream or a goal. So let's get a little bit more scientific in terms of what makes a good leader, answering the question. Every year, it's my job and it's my career, I follow a leadership skill survey that is conducted by Dr. Michael Leimbach. It is American-based, but it's much broader than that. And it's an international survey assessing what are the priority leadership skills that we should have. And I think it's been running since 2017. I've been tracking it on the 4th of June this year. I've again logged in, and then I listened to the live launch that they do on behalf of Wilson Learning. So in essence, it's an annual leadership development survey. Now this year, the focus was very much on AI, which I'll get to a little bit later, hence the specific title of the survey, which was published in the latest version of the training magazine. So I want to invite you once again to rate yourself. I'm going to take you through 12 priority leadership skills, as per what the survey tells us are the critical things that we need to focus on, the most critical things as leaders. Score yourself. Where you score yourself the lowest across those 12, that should highlight to you that that's the place where you should be focusing on. So let's start number one. The number one ranked priority leadership skill, ladies and gents, for the last at least 6 years is coaching and developing others. And it all starts here. Marshall Goldsmith said, great leaders encourage leadership development by openly developing themselves. And I've got a smiley face there because the mere fact that you are here tells me that you believe in leadership development. Again, that's where it starts. For you to be able to coach, develop, mentor, etc., and invest in your employees. This is an excerpt of my PhD research that I did. Yes, it's 5 years old, but I can promise you that it's still very valid. And that's a specific or critical statement in my research that I want to focus on. These 5 statements, and you can take your time and go through it when you get the recording on our website, or you can take a screenshot, are the most critical leadership development process criteria, if I can call it that, across all levels of leadership, as per the 9 leadership gurus that I interviewed that operates in Southern Africa. Specifically, the fact that we can't adopt a shotgun approach. We must ensure that every individual that we have in our teams have a specific development plan according to their specific needs. If we adopt a shotgun approach, which we can't do, we're going to lose a lot and waste a lot of money and time, as opposed to focusing on what those specific needs and criteria is for each individual, ensuring that we also know each of our individual team members' needs from a development point of view, using things like 360-degree feedback assessments. CFO asks the CEO, what happens if we invest in developing our people and they leave? And the CEO's reply is, but what happens if we don't and they stay? Food for thought. And just briefly, coaching versus mentoring. Mentoring, yes, is more advising. And by the way, it's not advising by an older person. I ask for advice from my kids, from my sons, when it gets to things like tech and social media, etc., etc. It is advising from a more experienced person, depending on what the area is that we operate or want to advise in. And then coaching is more around asking questions, getting people to get themselves to get to the answers. I do a little bit of both. Yes, my focus, part of what I do is coaching, leadership coaching, but I do something called moaching, which is by the way, not something I made up. It's a concept that's out there, combining moaching, or rather coaching and mentoring. Priority leadership skill number 2, communication skills. So what's effective communication? It is the process of exchanging ideas, thoughts, opinions, knowledge, and data, very importantly, so that the message is received and understood with clarity and purpose. Effective communication means that the message is received as I intended to be received, as I wanted to get it across. We all know the broken telephone game, if I can call it that. And obviously, if we get the message to land as I intended to, we won't have that effect where the wrong message gets transferred. According to EB Officers, a good source, I always share with you good sources. What's the top five traits of a good communicator? First of all, is to be self-aware. Why? Because if I keep waffling on and I'm not self-aware, people might lose interest and I will not realize that, listen, I'm steering this conversation in the wrong direction. Be clear and concise, to the point. Be confident. If you're not confident in the way you want to communicate or get something across to me, how do you want me to trust or believe in what you're saying? And then using empathy. And it links back to self-awareness. I need to empathize as part of being a good communicator with the person that's communicating to me as well. And then very importantly, probably most importantly, we need to have good listening skills. But I want to share with you a couple of things, a couple of golden nuggets, hopefully, that works for me and that are the critical things in communication skills that I've picked up along my journey. I think the most important thing is to create the right atmosphere for open and honest feedback. Create an atmosphere where there's open communication, which is simply referring to the ability to freely convey or to create an environment where people are happy to freely convey their thoughts and ideas to each other. Obviously, the assumption is that it's constructive and it's respectful, whatever we convey. And may that be part of your organizational culture. May that be part of the cultures in your teams where you create that psychological safety where people are happy to speak their mind. In receiving feedback, what I've learned is the following. Yes, we have to properly listen and we can't assume. And let's paraphrase. If somebody tells you something, maybe your line manager, don't just accept it and move and walk away. Ask something like, John, Mary, just to check my understanding, is this and this and this what you meant to say? Or ask me to do. And in doing that, we're making sure that the message landed on your side effectively. If we then provide feedback, how can we make sure the message lands safely? And I just try to illustrate it through that picture. Ask for commitment. Tell the person that you're giving the instruction to, in terms of our discussion, what are you committing to? What are you understanding? To make sure they got the message right. So it's important both ways. If I'm receiving a message or sending a message, that I take charge, doesn't matter which side of the fence I am, to make sure that the message got across correctly. And we need to learn to listen and consider. Stephen Covey said most people do not listen with the intent to understand, they listen with the intent to reply. We can't be a yes but person. Mae West said the very important thing, it's not what you say, but how you say it, which we always need to remind ourselves of. Rank number 3, team leadership. So despite potentially feeling like this as a result of now having to manage teams versus individuals, feeling that you're swimming through shark-infested waters, simply stick to sound leadership principles in leading individuals and teams. Indeed.com, very good source, tells us this, leading teams versus leading individuals. While the primary principles of leadership remain the same, whether you're leading teams versus individuals, certain aspects of communication might change, but the group dynamics between members of the team might influence how you communicate with them and what kind of message you send. I'm sharing with you a couple of good, hopefully, team leadership fundamentals in terms of my experience. Pick the right team members, and if you inherited them, manage your weakest link. Learn to ask the right questions. Know your people. Only by knowing your people, you would also know what their needs are and their wants are. Keep your team motivated. As a leader, it's our responsibility to keep ourselves motivated and our team members motivated, which I'll get to a little bit more just now. Appreciate your team members. Something simple like thank you. Small thing of appreciation goes a long way. Acknowledge and celebrate your successes together. Give your team members the benefit of the doubt. Have their backs. Apply the basics in relationships with your team. Honesty, trust, respect. Number 4, emotional intelligence skills. Critical. In a couple of weeks, I'm going to my alma mater in Limpopo province, where I matriculated in 1988. And I'm spending 4 years, the 4th year now, with their newly elected student council or prefects. Key thing that I'm going to focus on is EQ. We cannot underestimate the importance of EQ. And the father of the concept of EQ is a guy called Daniel Goleman. And very interesting, through their research, they assessed that only 6 to 10% of our success in life correlates to our IQ. The rest of our success is much more reliant on things like having high EQ. So they define emotional intelligence as the following: our capability to manage and control our own emotions, and very importantly, and which we often forget, also the ability to, I don't like the word control, but to manage the emotions of others as well. Fyodor Dostoevsky, the Russian poet and writer, said, it takes something more intelligent to act intelligently. In one of the Exco teams that I served, we used to say, make like a duck. Especially if we are leaders, if we are stressed, we have underlying emotions, stay cool, calm, collected above the surface, even though below the surface you are paddling like mad. It takes years to build trust and reputation and seconds to destroy it, right? And I want to share with you briefly the most important or powerful tool of self-talk in controlling your emotions and managing your emotions and the emotions, managing the emotions of somebody else. In applying self-control, using self-talk. Yes, I'm going to kill that guy. No, you're not. Speak to yourself. We all do. If you don't talk to yourself, there's something wrong, not the other way around. Rank number 5, as per the survey, key leadership skill is to be able to manage or rather lead people through change. Change leadership. Change is the only consistent, Clitter said. So we need to embrace it. Change is good. On this website, they've simply defined change leadership as the ability to influence and inspire action in others and respond with vision and agility during periods of growth, disruption, and uncertainty to bring about the needed change. Through COVID, I fly from Lansera because I live on the west side of Joburg. Before COVID, I used to fly with Mango or Kalula. Where are they today? There are some other factors as well, but a key reason why they weren't successful through COVID is because they weren't as good as, and that's why they're no longer around, as FlySafe Air, who's the only carrier for us flying from Lansera. Rank number 6, strategy development and alignment. What strategy? Strategy is simply a specific plan that we need to execute in order to meet our objectives and our goals. It's a roadmap. Don't overcomplicate it. It's as simple as that. So what is strategy development? It's a company's plan to achieve consistent growth. This technique lists detailed data and objectives that describe how your team plans on accomplishing each goal. You might not be at your level involved in strategy development, but certainly you need to understand the strategy in order to be able to ensure with your team members that there's alignment in executing that strategy. The process of ensuring that all aspects of your company, including your goals, resources, and activities, are coordinated in harmony with its overall strategy. Number 7, performance management. There's the brief description of performance management. It's an ongoing process of communication between you as a leader and your employees that occurs very importantly throughout the year in support of what you want to achieve as a company. You see, we need to reframe performance management because we sometimes often see it as negative. We should see it and reframe it as something that's key to continuous improvement and development. And here are some from naturalhr.com, some benefits of performance management. It highlights training needs because that comes out of the discussion, right? It boosts morale because my manager or my leader is actually paying attention and cares about what I want and what my performance looks like. It helps us identify the right people to be promoted, to define career paths. It supports workplace planning. Who do I need, where, and when? It increases employee retention. It delivers greater employee autonomy. And finally, they're saying it improves accountability. This is a message in a booklet that we had in one of the companies that I work for. And I think it's a key message and it captures the essence of performance management. And it says, from your team member typically to you, tell me what you expect of me. Give me all the tools I need to do the job. Give me fair rules to play by. Be clear about the how, the why, and the what it is that you want me to achieve. Do this, and you will be surprised at what my business unit team under my leadership will achieve. We cannot expect our people to do the job, ladies and gents, if we don't give them the necessary tools. Number 8, emerging technology. Very important. That's the definition of generative AI, which is the type of AI that can create new content such as text, images, audio, and video based on user prompts and learned patterns. And it differs from traditional AI by its ability to generate novel outputs rather than just analyzing and predicting existing data. And there are lots of barriers for us not wanting to embrace AI, which I'm not going to go through. So is AI a threat or opportunity? Well, this requirement of us as leaders, as per the survey, went from being nowhere on the radar in 2023 to being ranked number 13, and now this year it's being ranked number 8. And I promise you, next year it will be part of the top five. AI cannot replace you. Always bear that in mind. Chris, now please let me know immediately if you can't hear the sound to this video clip.
For those of you old enough to remember
Okay.
when the internet showed up and people predicted the end of bricks and mortar, that there would be no more bricks and mortar stores, all shopping would be online. Well, that didn't happen. Turns out people like browsing and trying things on. Now, there are challenges to those bricks and mortar staying open from a strictly numbers standpoint, but we like going shopping. We're hunter gatherers. And so those predictions were completely wrong, even though the technology would allow for it. And this is part of the problem with technologists, and no disrespect to any of the engineers in the room, but like technology doesn't solve human problems. Technology won't replace a friend, right? Yes, it might be able to give you some advice in hard times, but at the end of the day, to be able to sit with somebody, and if somebody's going through a hard time, to feel their hand on your shoulder and say, "Don't worry, I got your back." There's no technology that's ever going to replace that. And I think a lot of the promises of AI are just that. They're promises. And very few of any of them are being realized. Right now, it's fun. It's having, and algorithms are not a new thing.
Right.
We've had AI for a long time. It's becoming more sophisticated without a doubt. Some of it's incredible. But I think a lot of the promises are yet to be realized. So I'm kind of in a wait and see mode. But I'm also doubling down on humanity. And I not to be cynical, but if we go back to the 70s and 80s, where robotics started to show up in factories, for example, and robotics kind of did a lot of harm to the livelihoods of people in blue-collar jobs. They were replaced by robots. Go to a car factory, it's a lot of robots and a few people. It used to be a lot of people with few robots. And when people in those jobs said, "You're destroying our livelihoods," sort of the white-collar world, Wall Street and technologists said, just reskill, right? Well, AI is going to do nothing to blue-collar work. Like, AI is not going to replace the baggage handler at the airport. AI is not going to replace your plumber to fix your toilet. It's just not going to happen, right? It's not going to build your house, right? Blue-collar work is about as strong as it can be in the AI world. Where it's going to affect is the knowledge economy. There's going to be a lot of knowledge work that will be replaced by AI, without a doubt. Will it completely decimate it? No. Will there be new jobs created that we can't imagine? Of course. And there will be some new skill sets that we need to go build up. And yes, knowledge work is going to be the place that it's going to hurt, not blue-collar work. It's just that's how it went. But I do think that jobs will switch. So, for example, in my world, the writer is the king, and the editor is like, meh, And I think that'll completely flop. I think, AI can write a shitty first draft of a press release, but you need a person to edit it. And so I think editors, people with good editorial eyes, are going to become heroes. Like, I'm not afraid of AI. AI, like, if you said, write a book in the style of Simon Sinek, it'll write a book based on what I've done.
Right.
But it has no idea what I'm thinking. It's not going to come up with the idea of, like, I'm writing a book about friendship. AI would not conceive of that. Right? So I think new ideas and looking forwards, and this is why having why and having purpose and having cause matters, because I'm always looking way ahead, going like this. AI is behind. AI is looking backwards, asking where I came from. I don't care where I came from. I care where I'm going. And so I think the more that we can focus on where we're going, and AI becomes a tool to help do that, but I don't think it's threatening if you're forward focused.
So the point is, we should embrace it because it creates us, there are so many benefits that we can get from it in order to give us the competitive advantage. Otherwise, we might become outdated, like those companies not embracing what they should have embraced back in the day. I'm going to briefly run through the last four. Next one is adaptive thinking, problem solving. And the point is, we need to adapt our thinking and we need to do something if we have problems. In solving problems, we need to use tools like root cause analysis tools, like techniques like the 5 why to resolve problems. As leaders, we should encourage that and we should use these kind of techniques. Number 10, creating engagement. Critical. Fostering connections and interactions with an audience, whether it's customers, employees, stakeholders, wherever. Gallup did a study. I'm not going to go into detail. We're running out of time, I know. And what they basically found is that when you do have employee engagement in your companies, it gets to results like the following: 78% absenteeism drop, increasing an increase of 63% in safety reductions, if that makes sense. 63% reductions in safety, 23% increase in profitability. Second last one, providing feedback. And we have to focus on both informal and formal feedback, ladies and gents. Yes, formal feedback is structured and planned, and typically we need to bring it in when we do performance reviews. But informal feedback is as critical because we can do it wherever we go, as things happen. And it's so important because it allows us teaching moments that can't be planned. In that moment, we can give that feedback. And ultimately, it's essential to employee morale if we also practice informal feedback. And please don't be that guy or that lady that only gives feedback once a year. Oh, by the way, the reason why you're not getting a bonus is because since our last review a year ago, you weren't performing. We can't do that as leaders. And the last one, motivating others. And I want to say to you almost, well, not almost, I want to say to you, motivating ourselves. You will recall that I did a session a number of months ago on motivation. We cannot only focus on intrinsic factors like benefits, perks, salaries, bonuses. It's important that we really understand and get to what motivates our people, what makes them tick, and that's why we need to know our people in order to have enjoyment, purpose, growth, etc. That's in that green head. The point is, if we only focus on intrinsic or extrinsic motivation, rather, it's not sustainable. We need to focus on both. That's important. And just briefly, 6 things to inspire and motivate other people. You can't motivate others if you not motivate yourself. Treat each person as an individual, again, knowing them, again, knowing their needs, and provide them with a challenge that motivates people. Keep them informed of the progress in regards to the challenge that you set them. How are they doing? Create a motivating environment, also by understanding what motivates and make them tick individually and as a team, and then recognizing achievement. It's critical. Even if you get people together and celebrate something and clap hands, and it doesn't need to cost you money. So let's recap. We've been and gone through those 12 very quickly, and I apologize that I'm running at such a fast pace. So here's my challenge to you in closing. Take those 12 and score yourself and close and focus rather on the gaps where you have found and recognized where you've scored yourself the lowest. And with that, I wish you all the best and success. If you would like to join us next month, 22nd of August, I'm going to talk to you about and cover survival skills in an upside down world, which I think is critical. I obviously won't do it at the fast pace that I've done it today. If you have not asked me to join your LinkedIn network yet, please do so. I will happily accept the invitation. And I'm going to stop sharing. And I do know we are over time, and I apologize once again for that. Any questions? And you're always welcome to ask me, pop me a question afterwards, since we're a couple of minutes over time. Any questions with regards to the content? What makes a good leader?
Mr.
Anything?
Hekkie,
Yebo,
how are you?
good in yourself. Go for it.
It's Walter.
Yes, Walter.
You know, I'm so very glad, man. You showed me something that when I'm a leader,
Yes,
the credibility I already obtained, it's a privilege on me.
yes.
In other ways, I should ensure that the ideology I obtained as accredited, I should share with the vulnerable person to mitigate it. For purpose of my side, to build a confidence as a leader, to
Mm-hmm.
ensure that surrounding people who are just reporting to me, they must have a confidence on executing other things because I will already obtain a certain other core ideology are created accordingly. But
Mm-hmm.
people who I lead them, maybe they are vulnerable. Now, for me to share what I already obtained to
Mm-hmm.
them voluntarily, so is going to be imposing sustainability and a prosperity, and then come back to me as a propagating factor to build the confidence to the team members.
Sure.
You just give me something I never have a lot to do about it. Now today, I was thinking that now if I obtain something, maybe qualification, I should be the one who holding all these ideas, and these ideas I should be just benchmarked by. But I see that or no, is it very, very important. I should share my idea with someone who now be on that category of my field. Yeah,
Sure. And part of leadership is to get people to get confident as you grow them, as you develop them in their own abilities in order to grow in such a manner that they can operate at a higher level. And ultimately, Walter, even take over your job. I always said when I had guys, even senior guys reporting to me, your job is to work yourself out of a job. But you can only do it if you have
yeah,
strong people reporting to you and that you empower them, you equip them, and you give them the confidence also as part of that process to be able to operate at that higher level. Absolutely. Right. Thank you very much, ladies and gents. I did see that question in the chat box, and the question was just briefly to go there. What was the one between 5 and 6? It was strategy development and alignment was the one after change leadership. And on that note, ladies and gents, hope to see you next month. I wish you all the best and success, and see you soon. Keep well. Thanks.
Okay, bye.
Cheers. Bye bye.